Hello, Yakri here with another Warframe video. This time I'm here to answer another simple question. What makes Inaros so great? Well, there are a couple of things that kind of combine to make him really good, and they aren't directly his abilities. Rather, it's his large HP pool and relatively easy modding requirements that make him a very good Warframe and allow him to fill a niche that no one else really falls into. Okay, so we've got his abilities Desiccation, Devour, Sandstorm, and Scarab Swarm. Now, if you look at these abilities, none of them deal a particularly large amount of damage. Now, you could see that as a disadvantage, as there's no way you can really mod your way into solid damage with these abilities. However, I see it as an advantage. The thing about these abilities is that they are pretty effective, or at least a little bit effective in different ways, without any damage bonuses. So you can feel free to tank power strength and still be effective. Perhaps most importantly, his ultimate, Scarab Swarm, gives you additional flat armor. This armor is not affected by power strength, which means that tanking power strength doesn't affect your tanking, as it were. Okay, so the other thing is that these abilities do scale pretty well with range, but are fairly effective even without any mods at all. Desiccation does benefit a good bit from more duration, but doesn't really need it, as its most useful aspect, which is to blind a group of enemies and then kill them automatically abusing covert lethality, or just a good weapon that has a nice high amount of finisher damage if you do a melee takedown to steal life from them when you kill them. That's really good. Devour itself isn't particularly useful, not for its ability to kill enemies and turn them into sand demons. That's kind of shit. However, what you can do, especially at high levels, is find an enemy that's not going to die easily, probably with your nuked power strength. It won't die for years, and then you hold X on it, which makes you invulnerable. You can't do anything while you're invulnerable, but you will heal up to full HP eventually. So this is kind of an abusable way to just be like, ah, shit, hold X. Knock an enemy down, hold X, and you just stay invulnerable in the situations where you would otherwise die. Of course, you eventually have to release it, and if the mission is just getting too tough for you, you're going to get wrecked, but if it's still within your means and you were just getting a little bit too low, it's a good recovery method. Sandstorm is a pretty bad ability to use continuously. Thing is, you can just click it once, deactivate it, and it will ragdoll all enemies near you, so more crowd control, while also briefly making you resistant to damage. Scarab Swarm is got a useful heal, right? So it's pretty good. You can play a little bit of a support role, but most importantly, it's going to increase your armor, which you want because your base armor is actually not that good. Now, let's take a look at my modding build. So this isn't necessarily a build I would recommend. I probably need to throw like 2 or 3 more Forma on him, but what I've done is maximize tank for fun purposes. And because that's the point of this video, this is certainly a build you could do, or you could do something similar to it. You know, let's grab in some corrosive projection, why don't we? So you can do a build pretty similar to this at least, and it would be a valid build to do, just going all in on tank. Why is that? Well, the thing is that Inaros is really good at one particular thing. If there are a lot of nullification abilities that you expect to have to deal with, and so nullifier bubbles or the little corpus skater fucks, you can just ignore them and not give a shit, right? All of your tank comes from your base HP and your armor. You don't have to use abilities to be tanky at all. And your abilities themselves are kind of like fire and forget, except for your ultimate, which is going to be kind of nullified by nullifiers. So basically what you can do is just run around not giving a shit and shooting up nullifier bubbles. It doesn't sound that great, but it's very convenient in some cases. You know, once in a while it's just like, all right, I just want to shoot some shit. You pick Inaros. Don't have to worry about any abilities, you just gun things down. Nidus fulfills a similar role, but he doesn't get super tanky without actually using an ability, whereas Inaros doesn't need to. Now keep in mind, of course, that there are several Warframes more tanky than Inaros in terms of EHP, like maximization. However, Inaros is the only one that doesn't have to use abilities to get to that really high point. The other thing I want to mention, actually, before I move on, is Arcanes. Inaros scales really well with Arcanes because, of course, his base HP is really high, and his base armor isn't that good either, which means that if you drop 2 Arcane Guardians on there, or 1 Arcane Guardian and something else you find useful, your EHP is going to skyrocket relative to where it's at right now. Probably one of the best scaling frames with Arcanes in the game. particularly because, once again, Arcanes are not deactivated by nullifiers, and neither is your nice fat base HP. This also means that Inaros scales extremely well with a variety of other buffs that your allies can potentially give you. So let's take a look at how he fares versus 8 heavy gunners. Now, this is what I mean by Inaros isn't really... There are several frames tankier than Inaros. As you can see, I'm taking damage actually pretty quickly, and there are a number of frames that could pretty readily survive this, right? Okay, we're gonna just drain that guy and throw them all up into the air. Okay, why don't we leash this dude and press X. So as you can see, I'm still able to survive it there. But you know, if you had the right build on Nidus, you could just stand in there and tank it. I think Chroma has now a similar amount of EHP to Inaros, but I don't know if I think a relatively easy Chroma build would have more EHP than this. But if you're really maximizing both, I think he keeps up now. Now that Chroma's been nerfed in EHP, I mean, Inaros keeps up. But I could be wrong. I'm not sure. It's in like the 40,000 range, I think. And then like Nidus can get like stupidly high, and I forget who else can go like bonkers tier high. Oh, Rhino can get into the hundreds of thousands of EHP with Iron Skin. So yeah, he's not the tankiest frame. Yeah, I did have my ultimate on. So for a second, I thought I had it off, and I was like, oh man, I really didn't give him the right amount of credit here. But yeah, you can use these abilities to kill enemies pretty effectively. And this oh shoot, I might actually get myself killed here. So, and melee finisher, opening enemies to melee finishers is of course very good because of covert lethality, which makes him one of the various frames that are convenient to bring into high-level missions so that you can insta-kill enemies for Equinox to be able to get their HP and use her ultimate, right? So, if only the melee finishers weren't so glitchy. Yeah, come on. Oh, he's not blinded, that's why. There we go. Yeah, there we go. And it heals you too, right? So that's fantastic. Great sustain. I don't know what else to say. That pretty much sums it up. Inaros' passive stats actually are kind of unique in Warframe, and even if you took away all of his abilities, he has kind of like a nice beefcake role to play in the game that can't be affected by other things. Even if he's not the beefiest beefcake, he is, I guess, the most resilient beefcake. That's a good way to put it. The most resilient beefcake. That's Inaros for you. All right, thank you all for watching. If you like this content, you want to see more like it, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And that's all for now. Yakri out.